Hi, everyone. I feel called to share a little bit of behind the scenes around my New York City experience and really get real with you about how it was, how everything was planned, or rather, even not planned sometimes, and how it all worked out, and why this imperfect thing is actually very much perfect. So, first of all, when I was in New York, I felt that this was a completion and a manifestation of certain period of my life, of the work I was doing on myself. And it was really profound because when I stood there, first of all, at the New York Times, and then in Times Square with the billboards, and then speaking at Nasdaq, throughout all those situations, I was really full of emotion and excitement, and it was absolutely not desensitized for me. Like, I really felt all of it. However, I also felt like I belonged there and I earned this. Like, I wasn't feeling like, I wasn't feeling like I need to prove myself to be there. I felt like it was a completion of all my work and what I have been doing in the dark. Anthony Tucker says that you get rewarded for what you work in the dark. So I felt like I really was becoming visible, but there was a lot of work that I have done in the dark before. And not only the fact that I was pre-launching my book, my second book, The Uncommon Leader, and the fact that I had to, go through the process of writing it and joining the writing boot camp and then writing all of it and then editing and then again and again. So like that alone is a huge, huge part of the work. But being a speaker at those locations and being on a billboard and feeling like I can be there, like I don't just, oh yeah, you can pay for the billboard, but like feeling that I can be there, that's not something you can pay for. That's something, I mean, you can pay by different programs that you attend, but you need to do the work on yourself to be able to be there, right? And I don't know if you resonate with that, but that was very, very strong for me. And how I felt was that my energy was really high vibe energy. I definitely felt all of it. And also I felt it was sort of right. It was obvious. It was, yes, of course, amazing, right? And my big champagne problem, as my mentor Amy says, is that when I was preparing for the Nasdaq speaking keynote of 10 minutes, my biggest problem was what to choose. What can I talk about for 10 minutes when I just talk to people and I don't have this response like I do in my master classes or my programs where, we go through it and I get to respond and I get to get all these insights. It was like the hardest thing to see what to choose to provide 10-minute speaking thing and that it's engaging and something that really adds value to people, because even if it's on 10 minutes, I don't want to waste anyone's time and I want to pass great value through that time. And because of my whole work until now, this was my problem. But if I didn't do all the work, I would have a problem what to speak about in 10 minutes, but not what to choose from the massive amount of content that I could speak about, right? Massive amount of stories, of points I could make. So actually my Nasdaq speech was about the point of you are the culture, and Gallup says, there are only 31% of engaged people, and how do you treat it seriously that, this is the reality. So where are the 69% of people if everyone says that, my culture is great, right? Like, how can we take responsibility and really look each other in the mirror and really question, am I really a good leader? Can I improve? Am I, if I am the culture, what is my culture like? The culture is my mirror. So how am I being a leader and an example for my culture, my proximity, my environment? So when I was preparing for it, So during the New York Times, there was an interview that was with me, and the questions were, I knew that the questions will be asked, so I could prepare for it, but also it was actually hard because I didn't want to memorize the answers. I just wanted to sort of have some talking points. So that was also difficult, what to choose, like which angle, right, how to respond to those questions. But then there was a panel interview at the New York Times, and I was taking part in a leadership panel. And that panel was the best and the easiest thing to do, actually, because I could just respond, and it was easy. It was the easiest part because I didn't have to like decide ahead. So that was a big lesson for me, that I thought it would be the case, but like we may think that, you know, oh, if I don't prepare, I cannot do it. But like if we do the work and we are becoming that person, then it's really easy to just show up. Does it make sense? So that's the part of personal growth that I think you can resonate with, that when you do the work, then you show up and you don't have to prepare as much. You can just have talking points. But if you are in it and you are about the impact and you know exactly what you're working with, then you can easily talk about it like that. And it is powerful. Now, for the Nasdaq, I was preparing the keynote speech. So I was in Morocco, I remember it, beginning of November, and I had to submit the slides because there was a deadline for the Nasdaq to accept the slides, and they could not be changed. So I sort of last minute, like, and when you think about it, like really last minute, and I'm not a last minute person, but okay, we all procrastinate sometimes. And I just didn't know. I didn't know what to choose. I didn't know what to have on the slides. I still didn't know what I will talk about. And I had a call with my speaking coach only mid-November. So only later I actually spoke with her about it. So when I was putting those points together, you know, I put the slides and I thought, okay, that's great. And then when I was speaking to my speaking coach, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? These slides are terrible. I will never be able to talk about these slides in 10 minutes. They are like loaded. They could basically describe my whole book. Like how could I talk about it in 10 minutes? So that was the lesson. Like I actually didn't think about it. I didn't think this through. So normally you could think, oh, I failed. Oh my God, right? Such a big thing, Nasdaq, and I didn't do it properly. And I didn't, you know, so I had to work with it. I couldn't change the slides. I could decide not to use them. I could decide to use some of it. So what I did was deciding, actually, I will use a couple of them and I will actually speak about something that I want to speak, but it can be totally different, right? So it was a challenge, you know, because I felt also a moment was there, like I could judge myself about, why did you F it up, right? Like, but I didn't. I decided, okay, whatever. That it's supposed to be like that. That's fine. I will learn. Next time it will be better. So then when I spoke to my speaking coach, she opened up my eyes so much that I was like, whoa, thank God I'm talking to you. And by the way, that's the power of investing in the things that you want to improve. Like I invest in spiritual coaching, in business mentoring for myself, in speaking, in style, in branding, in different things, because I'm not the expert of all the areas. And even if I'm the expert in coaching, I cannot coach myself because I don't see myself the way that someone else sees me. So that's the way, I invest. And hopefully, you also have your way to invest based on what you want to improve and the direction you want to go towards, right? And when we had the call with her, and she totally painted how, like how I can choose and what my aim is and what I really want to say, I went back and basically also worked with my team on sort of dry run of what I would like to say. And they were sort of like looking at me like, they're not really moved. And then they asked some questions and I started to like flow with it and explain what I mean. And then they said, yeah, this story, say this story and say this and say that. So then I was like, okay, I trust that they get like awakened, more alive when I was sharing something else. from my heart. So actually that helped me. So that was the process, right? Like at first I sort of went for my head, and then I went into this like coaching experience where I got more clear and I really understood what the opportunity is and how I can approach it. And then I also had time with my team, and I asked for active feedback and really saw them responding to me. And basically then I shared a story from my life as an employee, and then why it's important to be a CEO that is the culture consciously. And it was really beautiful because at the end of the speech, there was one guest, sorry, a CEO in the room, and he approached me and he said, Paulina, I really loved that you called out CEOs, because I also used to be an employee in the past. And I mean, I remember my thoughts and I forgot them as a CEO. So this was really a beautiful confirmation of the right sort of choice. And by the way, I could have chosen many other things, right? But that was sort of the process. So at the end, I would say I was poorly prepared. However, I was showing up as me, and then I was really prepared because I was there being myself, and I could honestly stand on that stage and talk for 10 minutes about anything, and it would be, I think, great because I know my stuff, I live it all the time. Every day I study, every day I read, every day I go through things. I'm not a scientist, I'm not doing research, but I'm observing. I get stories from my clients, I get proof of concept from my clients, and I also lived my experience, my transformations, and I invest and I learn, and I continue to educate myself in the space that is available, right? Like there are plenty of scientific experiments that prove how we create and how there's experiments around water. If we speak good words to water or plants, they do this, and if not, they do something else. So there is a lot of experiments out there, and I don't need to create those experiments. They are available. So my job, I believe, is not to prove to you that this works. It's more focusing around just doing the work. And if you need the proof that it works, you have plenty of stuff on the internet you can find. And I don't need to be the one being a scientist, right? So again, it's like I'm sharing that because I think when you see my photos or the video, you can have a very different idea about how this was. And in fact, I am a very human person and I also can procrastinate, and I also can be like, what the F, like, why am I not doing it? It's important. Let me really look at it. And I can also leave things to the last minute. And at the same time, I do know that I'm compounding who I am, and I'm becoming all the time a better, grander version of myself. And I am living a conscious life, and I own it, and I know I can stand for it, and I know I can speak very clearly and with confidence and conviction about it because I am living it. So I don't have to, over prepare, if that makes sense. So that is also, I think, a key to success. And I speak about it and write about it in my second book, is that it's about who you become. So you don't have to pretend ever. You don't have to over prepare. You don't have to learn something by heart to be able to say it, because you're just going to be giving your opinions, right? Like you're just going to be talking as you talk. And this is really, really powerful. So was it perfect? Not at all. Was it amazing? Absolutely. Did I feel like I raised myself to another level? Absolutely. I also compared that experience to when over 20 years ago, I would fly from Warsaw to New York City for the first time ever. First flight ever. I flew to New York City, and I became au pair in the US, like a living nanny for like a year. And I was so scared. And I remember the moment when I was in New York, and I thought it's similar, because that move changed my life, and the trajectory of my life changed so much that it just shaped my life in a very different way. It was a massive move. And I felt it was the same with this. The speaking at those, the New York Times and the Nasdaq and being on the billboards, I felt like it's like in one way it was like a closure of certain period of work, and the visibility of it, what showed in reality after all the work I've done. And at the same time, it prepped me and put me on a whole different timeline of events. And this year is just going to be such a massive difference, again, another level to what I can offer, to how many people I can help. And it's really, I see it and I feel it, and right now, we are preparing for the dinner, the Uncommon Dinner in Amsterdam on the 22nd of January. And we have a new program launching, the Uncommon Leaders Collective. And my second book is launching officially at the end of January. So there's so much happening already, and it's like normal. Like in the many years ago, I would think launch of the book is like a yearly thing, and now it's we're getting it done. It's going to be a week of the work of life, but because it's been all the momentum, and it's all been compounded, so it is just like a next step and next step. But if I didn't have all the momentum and all the work, then it would be a massive thing to do it. Does it make sense? So I really want to, I know it's a lengthy little video here, but I wanted to share that because I work with brilliant people, and yet they often also still have doubts whether they should do it or not do it, how to do it, can they do it? And I think that we often look at people who are successful out there, that it's all smooth and they have a bunch of people working in the background and but it's not like that. It's not like that. I was ordering Chinese, like noodles to the hotel room because I was like tired, like dead tired at 9 p.m. And I was not able to like go out. I didn't want to go out. No, I was not able. I didn't want to go out anymore. So I wasn't partying in New York. I was like really in my cocoon, and then preparing for those events and enjoying them and really being in it and super like energized. And then also would collapse at the end, and then I would get up at 3 a.m. and then 4 a.m. for the makeup and thing like, it was like a normal thing, but also it totally wasn't. It wasn't normal. So I was noticing all of it. And then when the billboard hit, and I was getting a message from my very good friend, like I started to cry because I realized what's happening. And you may think like, what is it, Paulina? This is not such a big deal. It's fine. It doesn't have to be a big deal for you. But for me, it was a big deal. It was a very big deal. And I also want to say that it's also now very like normal, like kind of normal. But also still, I'm very grateful for it. I'm not like, I told even my friends, if one day I'm going to be on, like ever in the future, if I'm on the billboard and I say like, yeah, whatever, then please, keep me straight, because like challenge me, because I don't want to be like absolutely oblivious to it, right? I want to feel it and be really grateful for it, but also feel like I can do it, and it's not like, because that's the life, and the more I will grow, the more it can be normal that I am speaking and I am sharing and I am more visible, and I don't need to be perfect, and I can just connect like that and just feel what I want to share and share it. And you can too, right? You can be your authentic self. I know it's a cliche, but it's about be you, like the way you are. And if there is stuff that you don't appreciate about yourself, you can sort of become a better, grander version of yourself. And over time, you can really be super proud of who you are. But it takes work. And it's not because we are not perfect. We are absolutely perfect. And we're also very human. But we have so much conditioning. And we have so much stuff that came to us through, ancestors and the environment, and we have sometimes out of anger and maybe guilt and shame and all the different things, and those feelings are not helpful, and we can sort of go through them and actually release, right? So that work that I'm really passionate about is about creating the future, the coaching, the sort of vision, and then also heal with therapies, maybe trauma therapies to heal what needs to be healed. So it's both, right? Like I also have healers in my network that I turn to, and I also have coaches and mentors that I am pulled into the future. So it's always both, right? We don't want to just say, yeah, I'm gonna have this dream, and then something's blocking that needs to be released. It's also important to release what's blocking, right? So I feel like this, I'm complete with this. Feel free to ask me questions if you have any questions about it. But I just wanted to share this was a big event, a series of big events for me. And by the way, after that, so I was in New York, getting up at 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning, going to bed at 9. And then I flew to Florida to the Tony Robbins event, Date with Destiny. And I just got in there, my friends got me like a first seat, front row seat. And I got there and Tony came out, and the series of 6 days that ended at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. So that everything flipped. I was in the same time zone, but here I was getting up at 3 and 4, and here I was going to bed at 3 and 4. So then I got home and I was so tired. And this is maybe a last thing I want to share. I was actually so tired that I slept straight 19 hours, 19 hours. Had booked yoga and a movie at Soho House, and I missed all of it, like slept through it. And then I got sick. And my body was like, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay home and you're going to like chill. So I was sick, and then I got better. I went to Poland for Christmas, and then I came back, and I still don't feel super, like you can tell, like I still have a little bit of residual of it. And I've been resting so much. And I feel like that's also the duality, that I was in such a high vibe space for a period of time, and then, but it was really high, like so high. I probably have not experienced such an intense period in my life yet, not consciously at least. At work, I worked my ass off many times in the past in my corporate, but I wasn't like conscious about that high. And then, I went down into this like cycle of like a rhythm of life. Once you go up, you need to go down. And also accepted that it's part of this deal, that my body needs to integrate that. My body wants time to let it come, like let it integrate, let it become fully me after all that happened. And then I can grow again from it. So it's those ebbs and flows. I had really a lot of resistance about it. I would want to just go and like don't stop. But it doesn't work this way. The body needs time as well, right? And it's about taking care of yourself and the well-being. And I really learned that I want to be trusted. My body needs to trust me to make the decisions that plan for rest and really not doing anything and being like chilled and being a cat. Basically, I have a cat and I go like, yeah, I'm gonna be like you today. So I just look at the snow falling, I go for a little walk, watch something, and then I pause and I focus and I take a nap, and then like that's so beautiful, and I get to do it as well. And I want to tell you that because it's not always on. And obviously when you see the posts from me, I'm not posting that I'm laying down in my pajama, because I'm not posting when I'm in that state, right? Like when I'm really resting and recovering or nourishing myself, I'm going from a facial massage tonight. I'm not gonna post that I'm having a facial massage. I am having it. I am being then. So I want to share that because it is an important part of this whole process of transformation and integration, that the body gets to feel everything and everything gets to sort of land. So now, for real, ending this, and thank you so much for tuning in. Please share questions. Please join us in our programs. Exponential Growth Academy is open. It's an amazing program. There's still private coaching and mentoring sessions available. You can join us for the dinner. You're watching it before 22nd of January. So there's plenty that's going to happen this year. I'm going to also launch a new program with the new modules for the Exponential Growth Academy that you will be able to purchase, which are going to be gold, and I will teach them live. And there's this plenty and plenty of things. My book obviously is launching, so I trust that you will support and purchase it so that you can get all the benefits from reading it. And I wish you a very, very, very happy new year. And may all your dreams come true. As my dad always wishes, may you have dreams and make your dreams come true. It is important to have dreams. I was texting with a platinum partner from Australia, and he said, yeah, I have goals, but I don't have the dreams. And I asked him, do you want to have dreams? Because there's an amount of courage needed to have a dream so that you can go for it, but it can be scary, because it can mean changes in your life. But guess what? We get to live this life for that, to make those dreams come true. And they will come true if you can believe it. So dare to dream, and the dreams can be about anything, but dare to dream. You never know. Why not? So with that, dare to dream in 2026. I wish you all the may you be loved, may you be supported, may you be conscious, and may you be courageous. Thank you.